friends. Happy Friday. Thank Spirit it's Friday, as I like to say. Look who's here, everyone. I am so excited. We have Mel in the house.
Hey, thanks for having me. I got my time mixed up as usual. But
You know, that time zone stuff is a real problem.
I know.
It's like we got to take our shoes and our socks off just to be able to figure out when we're supposed to be, where we're supposed to be. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So, for those of you that don't know, this is Mel Doerr, otherwise known as the Aloha Shirt Psychic, right?
Right. Broadcasting from my office.
And this wasn't an accident that I put my flowered as close to what I have to a Hawaiian shirt on, so that Mel and I could be sort of like matching in a way.
Hawaiian twin flames. How's that?
Yes, there you go. I love it. So I want to say thank you to everyone for joining us tonight. We're here to celebrate moms. And as we go throughout the evening, I would love it if we could all sort of embrace anyone who is being celebrated and anyone who is celebrating Mother's Day. And throughout the course of the broadcast, I'm going to throw some questions out there, and I'd love it if you could share if you want to, because I think that it invokes great memories, right? It makes you think of a special moment, a special place, a special time, and my mother is no longer here, and there's nothing better than getting a hug from my mom. And so I feel like this is sort of the vibe that we can create together. So with that being said, every new guest that comes for the first time, Mel, gets asked 5 sort of like icebreaker questions. So we get to know you in a way that we might not know you already. I promise they're not too private or invasive. So if you're ready.
Well, I first of all have to say hello to my friend Leslie Lepowski.
Oh, hello, Leslie.
And Leslie came up with
so cute.
Yes.
Are those the bone? Those are the bone mints, right?
Correct. So if you want to get a hold of Leslie, 708-609. Is that right? Yes. No, I'm sorry. 708-669-6757. Or go to www.mintblizzardsbones.com. That's MINTBLIZZARDS bones.com. And so it is the dog's gift. It's a bona fide deal.
I love it. I love the packaging. It is adorable.
And here's one of the dogs, and it's the dog's gift to humans. These are not for dogs. These are for humans.
For humans, yep.
One of my clients was just here. She's an eye doctor, and I was running a little bit behind. And she saw him. She said, "What is it?" She loves dogs. I gave her one. She goes, "Can I take this back for my husband?" I said, "Yeah, but you have to order more." Right. So everybody, Leslie's sponsoring us. And so here you go. MintBlizzardsBones.com. So give her. I
love it.
It's a little bit too late to get them for Mom's Day, but you can give them for Father's Day.
Absolutely. Listen, that brings me to the first thing that I'm going to say, which I was going to say for a hot minute, but that reminded me of something that my mom used to always say to me, and that was every day should be Mother's Day.
I agree.
And so it's never too late to give a gift to someone that you appreciate and love.
I agree.
Because we all want to know that we're appreciated and loved, right?
Right. Oh, I see Ron. Hi, Ron.
So here we go, Mel. Get ready. Put your seatbelt on. I'm kidding. They're easy questions for sure. What would you say is your guilty pleasure? Food, a place to travel, a hobby, any kind of guilty pleasure.
Do I have to pick?
Yeah, I know it's hard, isn't it?
I love to cook.
Okay.
I love cooking. It's therapeutic for me.
Love that.
Baking, I'm learning. Well, my oven went out. It only does Celsius now, so but well, I can do the conversion. But I love to cook. I also love to travel, and I do
Mhm.
have space on my Rhine River tour, September the 6th, 2024. It's a $400 deposit to hold a space. If they book it by May 31st of this year, free round trip airfare from anywhere within the continental United States. Uh,
Wow.
so I love traveling. Um, and, I'm going to be in Sedona. I'm leaving Tuesday to be with Linda Grendel to do the seminars out there.
Mhm.
And then June 7th, we're going to Uganda to hike up to see the mountain gorillas. And then October, I get a trip going to Italy, and then this Rhine River trip in 2024. But I
Wow.
still have openings on it. So if you're interested,
Yeah.
call me 847-590-5411. 847-590-5411. And of course, if you want a reading, call that same number. So I didn't mean to plug myself.
No, listen.
I love cooking. I love dancing. I used to love ice skating.
Love it.
69, so I'm kind of getting a little old for that, but I can still do it. I
You're
took
never
up
too old.
skydiving at 45.
Oh,
Um,
did you?
yep.
That's very cool.
I like to play poker. I don't know. I just, there's so many things I love dog training. That's my passion as well. Dog
Yes.
training is like
Your dog training video, I think you've put a couple up. It's so good. So good that you put up. I loved it.
I'll put the bloopers up. It's like the bloopers. This is
so cute. So cute. Okay, so second question is what do you I'm going out of order. Favorite saying or quote? Something that, inspires or motivates or just touches you in a certain way.
There's a thesis called Desiderata, and it was found in All St. Paul's Church. And let me look it up.
Okay.
This is one of my favorites. I haven't actually. Desiderata. Let me take a look.
Thank you, Sharon Sipe, for putting Mel's link in. I was just going to do that. Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Well, Mel looks that up. And JR, I have you starred.
Can I read this? It's kind of long, but can I read it?
Yeah, no, go ahead, please.
It says, go placidly amidst the noise and the haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and always listen to others, even the dull and the ignorant. They too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexations to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain or bitter, for always there are greater and lesser persons than yourselves. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career, however humble. It's a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Above all, be yourself. Especially do not feign affection, neither be cynical about love, for in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is as perennial as the grass. Take kindly the counsel of years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune, but do not distress yourself with imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars, and you have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you conceive him or her to be, and whatever your labors and aspirations, and the noisy confusion of life, keep peace with your soul. With all of its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be careful, but strive to be happy.
Wow.
That is my favorite.
That's amazing.
Isn't that cool?
Such a beautiful, I mean, it's just beautiful.
It says it all.
Just beautiful.
No, I got that when I was in high school. They gave it to us, and whenever I would get down, I would look it up. And I'm not religious, but First Corinthians chapter 13, from the Bible, the love chapter.
Mhm.
I love Einstein. Some of his sayings, Einstein said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, hoping for a different result. And so I
I've
think
seen
there's
that.
a lot about that that's going
uh,
on today
it's
politically.
funny that you mentioned Einstein, and that particular saying, because that has been, I don't know about you all, but if you've been watching the news, and we don't want to turn this political, but if you've been watching the news and any of the clips that come on YouTube, and then you go into the comments, that particular saying has been used an awful lot, in reference to what the former guy did on television the other night.
That was such a what show.
It
Sharon,
was.
Sharon Sipe is so wonderful.
She is. She's putting all of it in there, and I appreciate that so much. Now, what is your favorite way to relax?
Ooh. I'm an adventurous spirit. I used to like swimming, but here in Chicago, it's been hard to do that.
Right?
I love ice skating. I love dancing, dog training. Gary and I were ziplining through the jungles of Belize in 2019. Cooking is very relaxing for me. I love watching YouTube. I love watching recipes on YouTube. And that's the problem. I lay on the couch and watch YouTube a lot. And I watch the psychic community grow. That's kind of cool. That's very cool.
That's an excellent answer. No one's ever given that answer. I like that one.
And I draw. I like to draw only when it hits me. I love making on my trips. I like spending time with my friends, my family here. My husband. I love to read, as you can tell, with all these books.
Right.
There's a lot of different things.
No, but you know what? What's beautiful about that is that, it speaks to how open you are, right? It speaks to how that adventurous side that you talked about, right? You're ready to sort of dip your toes into all of the waters, and I kind of dig that. I kind of like it.
Right. I like to sometimes get in the car and just drive.
Oh, that's the best. You know what? When I was younger, I felt such a sense of freedom when I got my license that I would literally invent trips just so I could experience the travel, like beyond, you're like your local community, right? Like to go out on the road and just see what's out there, go to a town that you weren't otherwise going to visit, and just look around, and you see the most amazing things that you weren't necessarily expecting to see. I love that.
Yeah, it's like, sometimes I remember one time Gary and I one Sunday said, let's go do something. So let's go to the botanical garden. So we got there and there was a long line. I said, Gary, let's turn around. How about let's go to the Brookfield Zoo? That was like 45 minutes the other way. He goes, okay, let's do it. So just to drive and not know where you're going. You just drive it.
Sometimes that you have the best time when it's like unplanned and unexpected.
And you're right. You see a place you never knew existed. It's like, hey, let's stop there. And it's like, yes.
Yeah, I love that. Excellent. Okay.
No, I'm not a Sagittarius, Annie Hamlet. I am March the 22nd. I'm 1 degree Aries. I have 3 planets in Scorpio. I have my Aries and my Venus is in Aries. Okay, I don't want all those comments. I think with the Venus and Aries,
it's all good. It's all good.
My ascendant, did I say, is Virgo?
That's my dog barking. Sorry, she's a little puppy.
Oh, that's okay.
She is going to be 18 weeks on Monday.
Dog barking's okay with me. What kind of doggy?
We don't know exactly. She is a multi-poo mix.
No.
She's from a shelter, and she's a hot mess, but we love her to bit. So
I, I intuit that she's happy she has a good home. So,
well, thank you. That makes me feel good because quite a few people have suggested that I speak to someone who could communicate with her to help her with her separation anxiety. But that's for another day. So our last question for you is, where is your happy place, Mel?
you mean my happy place, like
Just when you go
geographically?
there, it
Or,
does it for you. You feel whole. You feel one. You feel zen.
I mean, I love going to Sedona, but I don't feel a vortex there. My happy place, uh, and I have to preface this. I remember once a friend of mine said, Mel, when you're on the mainland, everybody's taking a piece of you. You walk on the land. When you come to Kauai, you fill those spaces the people have taken from you, and you walk with the land.
Beautiful.
And so I always remembered that, and I carry that with me all of these years. So my haleakua, my spiritual home, hale meaning home, akua meaning God or spirit, is the island of Kauai. It's a long way off, but I can just be there and just chill and hang with my Hawaiian friends and talk story and talk pidgin and learn more about Hawaiian ways. I have people that say, "Oh, I'm a huna." I'm going, "What's that?" Well, I took a seminar and I'm a huna. And I've studied Hawaiian culture for years.
Wow.
For like over 35 years. With people who were born and raised on Hawaii, and I've studied the old ways of Hawaii. And so people say kahuna means keeper of the secret. It does not. A kahuna was a specialist.
Okay.
So you could have a kahuna who specialized in canoe building, a kahuna who specialized in talking to family spirits, a kahuna who was a medical kahuna. And remember, in old Hawaii, there was no written language. So everything was passed down through chanting. Hey, Millie, no, hey, no, and also through hula. It told the story. But it was kapu. Kapu means forbidden. If you were a kahuna to cross from this specialty to that specialty. Just like today, it's forbidden for a dentist to try to be a brain surgeon. You just don't do it.
Right.
You could learn different specialties, and that was okay. So kahuna does not mean priest. It does not mean keeper of the secret. It means like a specialty.
That's beautiful.
And kahunaism was the religion of ancient Hawaii, and there's still underlying themes of it that go on. So
I have a feeling that, and I feel like I'm not speaking for myself when I say this, that most of us in the chat here know who you are and follow you and are familiar with you. I don't know that I've ever heard you sort of speak so eloquently and so passionately about something. I feel like I could sit, like if we were like around the campfire, I could entertain myself for like 2 days straight, just listening to your stories and your experiences, because I feel them when you speak. Like you speak so passionately about your different things that you've just mentioned in terms of your spiritual home. I mean, it's just it's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing all of that with us. I do totally appreciate it.
I'll tell you a story. My Hawaiian name is Li'ipua Okeakua, which in old Hawaiian means little flower of spirit, and in modern Hawaiian it means little flower of God. And so I wanted to learn about Hawaii. I remember, I'm 69 years old. I remember when Hawaii became a state in 1959, and then it was Alaska and then Hawaii. And I always said I wanted to go to the South Pacific. I had this draw to go there. I'm sure it's past life. But anyway, even when I think about Hawaii, I want to talk in pidgin. That's a new language, actually. It's been recognized as a language. But anyway, First time I went, I met a Hawaiian family. And later on, I was Hanai Hawaiian. Hanai means to be let in, to be adopted. Hawaiians are very professionally friendly, but to outsiders, their whole culture has been robbed. So they're very, very, I don't want to say protective, but very, very guarded.
Yes.
So I met her haole. Haole means ha, means breath. Ole means no. So we're haole means light skin because it looks like we have no breath because we're light.
Right.
Anyway, she was my Hawaiian teacher. Her haole name was Debbie. So we're sitting on the lanai, and she said, talk to the mountain. And I was looking at the sleeping giant mountain on the island of Kauai. And I said, I don't talk to mountains. I was being cocky.
Right.
She said, talk to the mountain. I'll smack you. On the forehead like that, right?
Yep.
So I said, okay. And I didn't understand Hawaiian. I didn't speak Hawaiian. I didn't know hardly anything about it at all. And I said, I don't know. I'm hearing something like Lili or Li'i Pua Kua something. I don't know. I have no clue what that means. And she said, that will be your Hawaiian name. And I said, I don't understand.
I just got total chills when you said that.
In Hawaiian, that's called Niki Niki. That means truth. And she said, in Hawaii, when somebody is pregnant, they find somebody to give a name to the child. They have the Hawaiian name, which can be long, and then they have the anglicized or name.
Right.
I said, I'm not pregnant. And she said, this is about you being reborn Hawaiian.
Right.
And then she told me what the name meant. And I was like, wow. And she said, that means you're one with the mountain, and the mountain is one with you. You're not separate. You're one with it.
Beautiful.
And I got Niki Niki. And now when I go to the island, my friend Jade, hi Jade, she always says, Li'i. She'll park and she'll say, there's your mountain. And I'm going to cry talking about it because I always get teary-eyed. Yeah. I always cry when I land on the island because I feel the mana. And I always cry when I leave. Yeah. And typically when I leave, it rains. And I said to my Hawaiian teacher, why does it always rain? And she goes, the island is crying. It doesn't want you to go, but it will always call you back. So that's how I got my Hawaiian name.
That's beautiful. Hypnocity says, my name is Nalani, and I was made in Hawaii, but I've never been there.
That's okay. You don't have to. It's about where your soul is, Nalani.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Mel, thank you so much for sharing all of your wisdom and your experiences and your stories. That was beautiful. And everyone in the chat is like, wow, thank you so much, Mel. That's beautiful. This was meant to happen, friends. That's
the phone you're hearing is I'm still at my office and the receptionist is gone home for the day. So you're hearing the phone ring, but just disregard it.
Let's answer it, shall we?
No, they'll be like, I want to make an appointment. I'll be like, I'm sorry, we're closed.
Frank's Pizzeria, how can I help you?
Oh, I should do that. Hi, would you like pepperoni pizza?
Right.
Let me just check one thing here real quick.
Sure, of course. So while Mel is just checking that, I have 6 people starred that want to ask some questions, but I'm going to throw this out there before we get started with the questions. So here is the first thing that I would love it if we could sort of all think about and share, and that is this. Of course, I have to find it.
Where are you located? I'm curious.
I'm in Ontario, Canada.
I could tell you're in Canada. I love Ontario. And how did I know you were in Canada? The reason I asked is because I could tell the out.
Yeah. Out.
That's okay. I love
out
it.
And about.
And you say intestines.
And intestines. You spell color the right way? I'm kidding.
No, you guys spell it the right way. We got it wrong.
Yeah. I just think it's funny that every time I spell it, I get an autocorrect, and I'm like, no, that's not right. And neighbors is the same. So
encyclopedia with the AE.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or orthopedics with the AE.
Well, I mean, the list goes on and on, right? Okay, so the first thing I would like to ask is this. Something that you would do that would always get a reaction, whether it be positive or negative, from your mom or your grandmother or like an aunt, is someone that you identify with as that nurturing sort of energy. I would love it if you would share that in the chat. I would get a reaction from my mom when I would tell my mom, oh, that was a Nana moment. So whenever I would tell my mom that she reminded me of her mom, our grandmother, she would give us like the stare, the look that only a mom can give you. And we would be like, mm. And it was sort of our way of putting her in her place, because it would literally stop her in her tracks, because she, you don't want to be like your mom, but then you end up being just like your mom. And so that would stop her in her tracks. So we would say that to her just to sort of, put her in her place, but it never really worked out.
My grandmother was not milk and cookies. My grandmother was my grandma in Kentucky, when I grew up, we talked like this, was from, the mountains. And her accent be like, it's hot in here, open a window. And so my grandma was a natural comedian.
Mm-hmm.
She was not milk and cookies. She was a good cook, but she was not milk and cookies. And I remember she would say, when I loved to spend the night with her, she'd say, and she had 23 grandkids.
Wow.
And she'd be like, you be good and you can stay home from tomorrow. I mean, you'll play poker. And I thought when I learned to count, it was ace, deuce, trey, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, jack, queen, king.
Yep.
But my grandma would swear, and we'll probably go to YouTube jail for this, but I've got to tell those stories.
Oh no, it's good. Go for it.
So I was in second grade and we were talking about nicknames.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, what's your nickname? The kids are raising their hand. And I said, well, they call me Little Melvy, but when my grandma gets mad at us, she calls us little sons of bitches.
I love it.
I love it. Called to school. And, in those days, it was like, my mother goes, don't you ever go to school and repeat what your grandmother said. Well, that's all I had to hear.
Right.
It's like telling everything.
It's almost like a dare.
But my grandmother was, she had a heart of gold, but she loved a joke. And my mother had a great sense of humor. And, grandma used to always say, there's two things you can do. You can cry or you can laugh. And sometimes it's a lot harder to laugh.
It is.
So I am so happy that I got her sense of humor and my mom's.
I love that.
But the one thing that would get to them, my grandmother's name was Anna Elizabeth, but they called her Anna Lou. And one time I called her Anna Lou and she said, boy, call me that again, or I'll beat your you-know-what till your nose bleeds.
Yep.
And my mother too, it was always mom and my aunts and uncles. You always had to put aunt or uncle in front of it. It was about respect.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Their pet, you just didn't do that. And when you came to the table, you could be barefooted and you have your short pants on, but you'd better have a shirt on and you'd better say please and thank you.
100%. 100%.
When you met somebody that was your elder, you would always, they didn't say Mrs., they would say Miss. So It was like Miss in their first name.
Yep.
Like Miss Helen, Miss Jane, Miss whatever, or Mr. Melvin or Mr. whatever. But you always put that Mr., even if they told you not to do it.
Yeah. I was brought up the exact same way. And it's funny, we would say to my mom, we would call her mother if we were like not impressed about whatever, in our teenage years. But most of the time it was mommy. Dad was daddy, and that's just the way we were raised. And it was always like, auntie whatever or uncle whatever, and all of the teachers or whatever, if you were to be in the community and you would meet like an elder, a friend of your parents kind of thing, it was always Miss or Mr. Always. That's just the way that it was.
Mom was either mom or mama. Yeah. And grandma was grandma, not grandmother, grandma. And grandpa was grandpa. And
we had Gran and Nana. So Nana was my mom's mom and Gram was my dad's mom.
Now, my great niece called my mother. My mother was my great niece. That's my nephew's daughter. My mother was her great grandmother, and my mother and myself helped to raise her. And she called my mother Nan Nan. And she called my sister, who's her grandmother, Mimi. It
I've
was
heard
just
that before, the Mimi.
right. But she called me Mel once, and I didn't answer. She goes, "Oh, because I didn't call you uncle." I said, "I will not tolerate disrespect coming from your mouth, girl."
That's right.
And
That's right.
now her daughter's my great niece, and she calls me Uncle Mel.
Did you used to get told, or like not in trouble, but told if someone called you and you responded with what? Did you get in trouble for that?
No, not really.
Oh, that was a big no-no in my house. If my mom called us, you know, she just like hollered out my name and I was like, what?
Oh,
And,
if you said it like that, yeah.
like
Then
like
you-
silence would occur. And then I'd have to go over to her and say, yes, mommy. And she'd be like, that's better.
Mom would say, "Don't look at me with that tone of voice."
Yeah. Oh, my dad used to say that all the time.
Or like in church, or if my mom was Catholic, my dad was Protestant, and we used to go to mass with grandma, and this was before Vatican II. And it sounded like the priest would never face the congregation, and it sounded like he was saying, "I play dominoes, you play dominoes," and we would giggle in church. Well, grandma, she didn't care, but my mother would say, "You misbehaved in church. When you get home, you're going to get a whipping."
Oh,
So now you had all the way home to think about it. And it was like, now you go in your room and you think about it more.
mm-hmm.
And then you had all that time. I was like, please just get it over with. And, you might get a little swat that didn't hurt, but you thought about it so much. That was the torture of it all.
I have a really funny story about that, and then I promise we'll get somewhere with your questions. Here is my funny story about that specific thing that you mentioned. So one time when I was about 4 years old, my father used to be a truck driver, and so he was gone till the early hours of the morning, like 2, 3, 4 in the morning. And I used to wake up a lot. And this one time I decided that I wanted a peanut butter and jam sandwich. So there I was at like 3 or 4 years old, and I would pull the drawers out and climb up top of the drawers like it was a ladder to get on top of the countertop. I had the cupboard doors open, and I'm making my peanut butter and jam sandwich. And we had saloon doors on our kitchen coming from the front door into the kitchen. And my father came in and I froze. I was like, uh-oh. So I jumped down and I hid under the table, which was not obviously very intelligent because I left all the drawers and the cupboards open. So when my father walked in, he turned the light and bang into the cupboard and yelled out, and I got found out. I got sent to my room, and then it was this whole dramatic scene where it was like, pull your pants down, you're going to get a spanking. And I sat there for like 10 minutes while my parents argued about whether or not I deserved to have a spanking, and because after all, it was the middle of the night. And I was so upset that I cried, and I actually peed myself because I was so stressed out listening to, I never did get a spanking. But yeah. So the moral to that story is don't make a peanut butter and jam sandwich in the middle of the night, and not close the cupboard when you're finished.
One more funny story.
Yes.
My aunt lived so far out in the country, the rabbits had to carry their lunch. And she didn't have indoor plumbing, so you'd have to use a chamber pot, a little pea pot. And so at night, she had this Chevy. It was a 3 on the column, and Kentucky's real hilly, and the car would shake. We go down the hill fast, so we could, it was for us. But there was a public water faucet, and she would take these big Army canteens and take them and fill them up, and bring it home, and that was the water for the day. Well, anyway, she always had these little Vienna sausages. They were little cans of these little sausages, and we loved them. And y'all be good, and you can have your Vienna sausages. And behind her house there was a pond, and we go back there and we use them to fish, to try to catch fish. Never caught any fish, but we had a good Vienna sausages. So my cousin Billy, he's in spirit now. He said, "Hey, go to the house and get some of those Vienna sausages, but don't let Mama see it, because if you do, you'll get in trouble."
Right.
So I tried to get that that big old army container full of water, but it was huge. It was too heavy. I couldn't do it. But the pea pot was there. And I thought, well, I'll just climb on that and get them. I climbed up on the pea pot and I was reaching and I lost my balance. Me, pea pot, and everything was in
Oh my goodness. Oh, I love it.
And my aunt heard the commotion and she said, "Good God, this kid has dumped over the what pot and it's all over him." And she said, "You're going to get a bath." She put me in a galvanized wash tub and she's pouring water. I said, "If you pour that over my head, I'll get pneumonia." She said, "Then you'll die with a clean head." I'll never forget that. They still tease me about that to this day.
My grandmother on my dad's side lived in an old schoolhouse that was converted into a residential home, but I use the word converted loosely, very loosely. I was about 3 years old and I went there for like a week during the summer break. Now, my dad is the oldest of 12, and wow. I have aunts and uncles that are 2 years older than I am. So I basically was like with brothers and sisters, if you understand what I mean. Like there was a lot of kids in the house. And I was spoiled rotten. So who doesn't want that? So I go there and I'm just having the time of my life. And my grandmother bought me pink fuzzy slippers. That's right, friends. Really, I did have those pink fuzzy slippers. And I thought that they were the bomb.com.
We had flip-flops. We went barefoot or had flip-flops.
And I was fascinated that she had an indoor outhouse. I'd never seen that before. And so I would go into the washroom to entertain myself and throw things down the toilet. Like all the stuff off of the counter. And then my uncles would have to go and fish it out. And one of the times I threw one of my slippers down there.
Oh, God.
And I don't remember what my grandmother said, but it was the first time that I understood that my grandmother wasn't all like, marshmallowy, fluffy, chocolatey, kind of sweet. She had a little bite to her. I was like, oh, I'm in trouble. Yeah.
My grandma did too. Anyway.
Okay.
All right. So shall we get busy?
We should get busy. So friends, here we go. Everyone. So Lisa says, thank you, Lisa, for being here. By the way, she says we could tell stories for days. And she agrees. She agrees with the barefoot or the flip-flops.
Hi, Lisa. How are you, darling? She's from close by where my grandma lived. One of these days, you and I should do a collab, and we'll just tell stories about growing up and let people pitch in the chat and have a good time with it.
Mel, you should join me one night. I do Fridays at my fire pit in my backyard, and that's what we do. We just kind of hang out and tell stories. So you are welcome anytime during the summer to sit back and join me at the fire pit.
I'll take you up on that.
I would love that. Okay. So here we go, friends. Our first question is from JR. JR says, can I get a mediumship reading on my mom? Her name was Miriam. So I'm going to toss cards because everyone knows that that's what I do. And we'll see if Mel can get something for JR. I just want to say a special shout out to JR. Not that I don't appreciate all of my subscribers, but JR was one of my very first subscribers and has stuck with me this whole entire time. And I'm so appreciative of your support, JR.
Well, Miriam is very proud of you.
And mute myself while I shuffle.
I can just see Miriam telling me clairaudiently with my inner voice, I send my love, and I'm around, and I am so proud of you. I don't know if JR's been going through a little bit of a difficult time, like emotionally and all that. And Miriam is saying, I'm carrying you. So don't think I've abandoned you, because I have not. And I don't know. It also feels like there might be some financial things. I don't know what it's all about, but Miriam shows me these dark clouds around the head area, which could be this dark period I'm talking about. But then Miriam shows those clouds lifting and then surrounded by this golden light. Don't give up. That's the biggest message Miriam is saying. Don't give up. Fight. You will come through this. That's what's coming through.
So for those of you that don't read, can I just say it's awesome to be in your energy. I just want to say that. Okay, so JR, my friend, this is what I've got for you. The first card that I pulled is the Void. And the message on this card says you may be covering up the emptiness or pain within or through an addiction. And I know that you know what that's referring to. Not like an addiction, but it's like a behavioral pattern or like an emotional pattern. Then I have enlightenment. Now, Mel said about the gold, and look at that.
Oh, cool.
The next card that I pulled, I got 2. And we have the wisdom and the truth. So I think the message from your mom is saying to you that if you check in with yourself, if you dig down deep past your insecurities or your fears, or even past hurts that could be holding you back, you can find that light. And when you find that light, shine the light, listen to that, let that be your voice, let that be like your North Star, right? Think of it like the Hermit card in the tarot. The lantern that the Hermit carries is the North Star, and that's what leads you on the path. One step at a time, you'll get there. Your mom is telling you to listen to your voice within.
It's like, I don't do tarot, but the Ten of Wands is like struggle.
Yeah.
But then I pick up Pentacles, but I also pick up the Sun. So you're going to be victorious in this. You can control it. It won't control you. So
I love that.
I see those clouds lifting.
Beautiful. JR did say that he was, or that she was in tears from that message. So thank you for that. He said, thank you, Mel, I'm in tears. Or she said, thank you, Mel, I'm in tears. Annie Hamlet says, I would love to hear from my mom. Her name is Pearl. What a sweet name.
Funny, because she's showing me a thing of pearls.
Beautiful.
She had a good sense of humor, because I see her with lots of energy and she's moving around all over the place, and I love it. And I see like animals with her. Like I'm seeing cats and a dog, it looks like. She's showing me a heart. I don't know what that means. All right. But whenever you see hearts, like little hearts here and there, that'll be her letting you know she's around. That's what the message that came through. And she wants you to honor your own intuition. Anne.
Wow. Sorry. There's some serious energy happening here, because the cards are flying. So I got 2 cards again popping out, Annie, for you. I love this deck. This is called the Soul's Journey Oracle, and it has the lovely images on the top there. So the first card is Envy, and the message is, I am the same as everybody, but with different challenges. The second card is Perseverance, and the message is, I know that I can do whatever I set my mind to. The next card that I got is Leadership.
Oh, wow.
Right? And then I pulled a guardian angel card, and I've got the angel of gratitude. So I feel two things with this. Wow, that's so pretty.
So you said gratitude. I'm like, oh wow.
Right. So I feel two things with this. This is either the message is, if you've been trying to to do something or to accomplish something, that maybe to shift your perspective or change the way that you look at it may provide you with the forward momentum, right? I don't know if you're feeling stuck or not quite sure, like you're indecisive about something. So I feel that. And then the second thing that I'm sort of vibing is that this is about feeling like you need to do what other people want you to do or what you think is right because you have other responsibilities and so forth, like we all do. And this is asking you to think about what serves you best. This is about your life. Take charge of it and do what serves you best, right? Live your best life. So that's what I got for you, Annie. I hope that helps. Thank you so much for being here and for asking the question. Thank you, everyone. We do have enough questions now. We have tons of them. And like Mel said, he'll come back and we'll definitely do more. Lisa Foster is up next with, can I have a message from my mom, Lucy?
She must have been funny because I have to use my Kentucky accent because she's saying, I'm grateful for the rest.
I love it. I love it.
Lisa, you'll have to let us know she had a good sense of humor because it's like, I'm grateful for the rest. You know, I see her surrounded by a lot of critters on the other side too. I don't know if there's a German Shepherd, but there's a dog, a couple dogs. And I know you like your cats, Lisa. But I wonder if she had allergies because I can see eyes watering and sneezing and all that. Of course, in Louisville, that's normal. I'll bet she liked to cook because I smell all these wonderful foods and aromas. And yeah, I bet she made some good barbecue. You know, she wants you to continue with your animal communication work and rescuing animals, and she's behind you, pushing you forward. Seems like you're going through a little bit of fear, but she's going to help you step out of that. You know, it's funny. My husband says to me, you know, Mel, whenever you talk about down home, meaning Kentucky, or your relative, the switch comes on, the accent comes back. And then when I'm not, well, I'm Chicago. I've been here for 40 years. But when I talk to Lisa, my accent comes back.
I love that. Lisa says she loved jokes.
Yeah, she showed me crawdads for some reason. I don't know what that's about, but she showed me all these crawdads. So I don't know what crawdads are, but they're crawfish.
She says, I had a white German Shepherd I named after her, named Lucy.
Well, she's telling me about that. So good.
Lisa, I have the most interesting cards, and I don't know if you noticed, but I went, oh, I'm still not over. Whenever spirit sort of, amazes me, I'm still not over it. I still oh, like I'm so surprised. The first card that I got out was animal totems.
Oh, cool. Which ones do you have? You got the
this is it's like I think an owl, a leopard, there's a lion, and I believe a moose or a deer.
Those will be totem animals. Let me just check something here.
Yeah. So this is animal energies and powers. And so, we all know, anyone who knows you or follows you on Facebook or is friends with you on Facebook knows that you love animals and that you like every day you're finding animals and rescuing them. And I feel like your mom, is that something that you got from your mom? like your love of animals, or your nurturing of animals, did that come from your mom? Because then I've got family, friends, and guides, and I mean, like that's your mom sort of guiding you. Like you don't find these animals by accident. I feel like your mom is sort of helping you to be of service to them, if that makes sense. And then I've got this toadstools, which is growth, and if you look really closely, she looks like she's holding a puppy in her arms. I mean, it's crazy to me, that all of these animals are coming out in your reading. So I don't know if I'm right or not, but I feel very strongly that your mother guides you to be of service because of what it does, not only for you, but what it does for the animals.
I've got this book, Medicine Cards, and the cards come with it. I don't know what I did with the cards. They might be around here. That's Sacred Path cards. I don't know what I do with the cards, but I know animal totems, but I just pulled this one. But this so fits Lisa. Lisa, I think you should hear this because your mom told me to pull this book and read to you about Doerr. Okay. Doerr teaches us to use the power of gentleness to touch the hearts and minds of wounded beings who are trying to keep us from our sacredness. Like the dappling of the fawn's coat, both the light and the dark may be loved to create gentleness and safety for those who are seeking peace. If Doerr has come into your life, you're being asked to find the gentleness that you have of spirit that heals all wounds for all things. Stop pushing so hard to get others to change and love them as they are. Apply gentleness to your present situation and become like the summer breeze, warm and caring and nurturing. This is your tool for solving the present dilemma you're facing. If you use it, you will connect with Sacred Mountain, or the sacred, your centering place of serenity, and Great Spirit will always guide you.
Beautiful. Lisa is saying that she's had 8 deer in her backyard. She loves deer.
Well, that's the deer medicine.
Yeah. And yes, Annie, happy Mother's Day to all mothers that are being celebrated and all who are celebrating.
And some guys who have taken the part of mamas as well.
Yes. Yes. All right. Miss Vivian is up on deck. She says, may I have a message from Spirit, please? And thank you. A message from Spirit.
If you're worried about lack of abundance, sometimes when I get worried about lack of abundance, is it Vivian or Vivian? Vivian
or Viviani?
Viviani. Viviani, thank you for the support. When I get worried about abundance or lack thereof, my guides always say, step back from it and look around, and the things that you have, be thankful for that. And so it's hard to do, because I want, right? But if you're worried about lack of abundance, just step back, look around, and be thankful for the abundance of the good things you have in your life. And you've created a lot of good for other people. And you'll continue to help other people as you do. And Spirit wants you to do that. And they're very proud of you for doing that work. And so that's what I get. And that would be from a guide called White Eagle. You have a guide called White Eagle. And if you haven't learned about White Eagle yet, you just did. And so the eagle medicine is about opening door to the east for the ancestral spirits to come through. Keen eye, soaring high but staying grounded. It's about balance. So that's what I got.
I love that. So I concur with everything that Mel said, because that's sort of what I got as well. I threw a couple of tarot cards. We've got the 3 of Earth, or the 3 of Pentacles, right? This is working together with others. This is collaborations and partnerships. It is the idea that you are a leader, but you enjoy working with others to boost them up so that they can excel as a leader themselves. You're very much a person that wants to lift others. Then we have the Lover's card. This is about relationships. This is about, harmony. And this is about, bringing energies together. It's about, your emotions. And so all about the people. All about the people. On the bottom of the deck, we've got the Knight of Earth, or the Knight of Pentacles. And this is about a moment where you have gathered stuff and you may want to take a pause as you sort of decide how best you're going to, continue on with your plan. It's a time when you're trying to be very organized and very sort of, you've got a list and you don't want to stray from the list. So the only thing that I could say to you is, relax a little bit, right? Don't hold on so tight.
Breathe. Breathe.
Yeah. The last card that I got was pleasure, right? So allow yourself, the little pleasures of life, so that you have that balance that Mel was talking about. That's what I got for you, Vivian. She says, Kelly and Melanie, I'm releasing a lot of material things and want to reduce all my stuff by at least 50%. Good for you. That's very difficult to do, though. And she says, it took me a long time to realize I have what I need and don't need stuff. Yeah. Stuff
Good.
is stuff, right?
Yeah. It's about stepping back and look at the abundance of the things you do have and getting rid of the things you're holding on to that you really don't need.
Absolutely.
But that also refers to emotionally,
yes,
and mentally and spiritually. It's about all of the above.
Sometimes, and I mean, those of you that follow me know that, I go clean out my sock drawer and I feel better. I feel more organized. The clutter in my brain is decreased because my sock drawer is organized. It may not make sense to everybody. It doesn't have to. It makes sense to me, and it works for me, right?
It's whatever works for you.
Yeah.
Whatever floats your boat.
It's like a decluttering or like a cleansing sort of thing. I feel like for me.
My office is full of stuff that people have given me and whatever. It's like the museum. But I had a physician here today, and all my pens were lined up. And she said, "Can you hear me?"
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, I was frozen.
Yeah.
She said, "All your pens are lined up." I said, "I know what you're thinking because it's true." She says, "Is it OCD?" I said, "You got it." And she goes, "Well, hey, you know what? It's okay. It's okay to be OCD. It's okay."
It's totally okay. Listen, a long time ago, my therapist told me, so I have diagnosed anxiety panic disorder, and my therapist told me a long time ago, something that I probably should have known a long time ago, but didn't, or I didn't connect the dots. And that is this: anxiety, like diagnosed anxiety, is based on fear, and fear comes from a place of, that like fight or flight sort of syndrome, where you're literally like frozen in a spot, like you don't know what to do. You can't actually figure out what the next move should be. And all possibilities seem so overwhelming that you then have a tendency to procrastinate, or to sort of, put it aside. I can't think about it because it's causing me too much stress, or causing me to be overwhelmed. Procrastination actually breeds anxiety, because the more you put it off, it hasn't left. The weight of it has not left you. All you're doing now is working twice as hard to push it down and get it out of your sight and sort of out of your mind.
Well, that's a message I need to hear, because I've been procrastinating some stuff. So thank you. Thank you, Spirit.
So there you go. All right. So Sue Toffee says, may I please have a message from my mommy? Her name is Van. 10 years, and it's so hard. Feels like I lost her yesterday.
Well, just because they cross over doesn't mean they're not around us. And sometimes we think, Well, they haven't come to me. Well, they do. It's just that we have to learn to pay attention to the signals. She says that, a lot of us think that we're imperfect and we have our faults, but in our imperfections, we are perfect. And so that's the message that comes through. In your imperfection, you are perfect. And she's saying, be grateful for the moment. And there's a lot of opportunities that's going to be coming your way for financial gain and for an abundance that way. And it can be very confusing about which one do I accept. You just call on Mama, and she'll help you through all of that. She's helping you to take your power back. So, and even though you might not feel her, you're going to feel like a pressure on the bed, and that'll be her. And then when you get up to go to the bathroom or get a drink of water, out of the corner of your eye, you'll see a figure. It's very diaphanous. You won't see a face. It's just like kind of a figure, like real quick. And you'll think, what was that? That'll be her. And then the analysis paralysis kicks in. Was that her? Was me thinking that was her? It'll be her. Just letting you know she's around.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love the messages that we're getting tonight. And I love the energy that I'm feeling right now. Like I'm feeling all teary because I'm thinking of my mama, but in like the best way. Like I'm happy. I just want you to know, Sue, it's been 12 years going to be like 11 and a half years that my mom's been gone. And it feels like yesterday. I still have trouble on certain days, but you know what? I know that my mom's around me, and I ask her to sort of confirm or say hi to me every once in a while, and that always makes me feel better. So I will say that. So here we go. This is what I've got. We start out with the Owl Spirit and Wisdom. This card wants to pop out, and it literally went like out of the deck. Then we've got Trust. And this is the key here, I think, for you, Sue. Trust. We've got Great Achievement. The great achievement is trusting that you have everything that you need. Like you have all the tools in your toolkit. You know exactly what to do, how to do it. I don't know if you're resisting it. So I want to say, try being a little more trusting of it. Try being a little more open to it. And what I mean by that is, if there's something that you want to do, if it puts a smile on your face, trust that you know what's best for you, and, dip your toe in the water. Give it a shot. What have you got to lose? The last card I pulled is Angel of Learning. And it reminded me of what you said, Mel, about if you see something under the corner of your eye, because this is very reminiscent of, you see those little flickers of light and you're like, is that something or is it not something? I don't know if that's something. You know what I mean? I feel like your mom is sort of surrounding you and sort of trying to navigate you towards being a little more open or a little more free in trying things, or if there's a particular thing that you want to try. I don't know which one it is, but that's what I felt. So I hope that resonates. Hope it helps.
My mom got crossed in 2016. And then 6 months later, a couple of cousins died and our dog died. She was only 6. So I was going into a deep depression. And one night, my dog Radar that died, her spirit came and my mother said, go on the computer. And I did. And I came across Chicago Canine Rescue. And it said our pet. So I clicked. And Chicago Canine Rescue very rarely gets puppies. They always get older dogs. But they had 5 puppies from a high-kill shelter in Kentucky. So I went to look at our dog's sister, but this one took my heart, and she had a front tooth missing. And I couldn't think of what to call her, so I called my sister down home, and I said, I got this dog, and they named her Hanada. I said, I don't know what that means, but that's not sticking. And my sister said, well, you're lucky to have her. How about Lucky from Kentucky? So my mom's spirit And my dog spirit led me to get this dog.
Mm-hmm.
And so, my mom died in 2016, and the pain of losing your parent never goes away.
Never
When
does.
I get really excited in my life, I still want to call mom, and
Yeah.
I can't. So I call my sister, I call my great niece,
Yeah.
and but I just, I could talk to my mom about anything, and she was a mom. She thought I was wrong, she'd tell me.
Yeah.
But I miss her every moment. But
I think that that's the thing, right, Mel, is as human beings, we're not taught to talk about our emotions when it comes to loss. We are not taught about loss or how to navigate that.
right.
We have people that surround us, and I would say like 99% of the time they mean well by saying, like, you've got to be strong and you've got to do this and you've got to do that. And if you're not feeling strong, there is a tendency to sort of shut down and block out that noise, right? Because you're trying to deal with and sort out how you feel. And one of the hardest things to do is that everybody else goes back to their normal life when, the 3 or 5 days is over and you are left standing there. And I don't know about anybody else, but when my mom died, there was an immediate shift in the dynamic of my family. Like, the day before she died, everyone knew where they fell in their family, or in our family, and the day after she passed, it was like the whole family was mixed up. Like, nobody knew where their place was or what they were supposed to do. And I don't know how else to say that. I don't know that I knew that. I felt it, and it has never been the same since. And that to me is the heartbreaking part, that we lost our mom and our entire family as we knew it.
Right.
Because everything felt differently. So
yeah, my mother's famous favorite holiday was Christmas and Derby Day in Kentucky. Yeah. And so we'd always, Gary and I, whoever, always there at Christmas and always there at Derby.
Yeah.
And, it was just the past Derby Day, and my great niece was here visiting me. And we talked a little bit about the Derby, but I said, you know what? Mom would want us to have a good time. Absolutely. And we did. We had a great time. Yeah. So I'm sure that was my mom's spirit.
I think of my mom, for those of you, my mother was a class act. I'll show you my mom. Anyone wants to see my mom? This is my mama. She sits very close to me. Whoops, hold on. I'm trying not to get the glare. So
I love the wispy updo.
That's my mother and I. I'm like 2 or 3 years old in this photo. So she sits by me all the time. The name of my channel, Dozen Cats for Me, is a name that I started using on a game site with my mom. We used to play because we didn't live close. So we played on this game site, and my mom was all worried about internet security. And so we came up with these crazy names, and this was the name that we came up with for me. And so I've used it ever since. I started the channel on my mom's birthday. And again, for those of you that follow, the whole reason that I'm on this journey and this experience and this experiment is because of my mom's passing. And so she's here everywhere all the time. And I would encourage anyone who feels like they're missing their loved one, whoever it may be, just start talking to them. Just start talking to them. They will be there. They will show you that they're listening in some form or some fashion. Trust and believe in that. All right, we've got 2 more to go. Bim says, I would love to know how my mom feels in heaven.
She's surrounded by a lot of love, a lot of loving, maybe her mom and just family members, a lot of love there. And I see them all around a big table, and they're talking and laughing. And that she's happy in her spiritual community. But she can also be in her spiritual community on the other side and still be around Bim. But Your mama wants you to be grateful for the life you're in right now, Bims, and honor every moment. And that's huge. Spirit told me I should pull these grateful cards. And so that's what I'm doing. But she said, be grateful for your life. And when it's your time to cross over, she will come to get you. But she is at peace, but she's also grateful for the community around her on the other side, and grateful for the love that you all showed her when she was here on the airplane. So, go ahead.
What's interesting is I'm getting like the same kind of messages, the same kind of vibe, and it always thrills me when spirit feels like we all need to have the same message. And and what I mean by that is I feel like this was meant to happen, right? Like we were all brought here tonight because there is messages that seem to be for everyone. I've got generosity, and generosity says giving from your heart with no strings attached is what is needed now. So coming from a place of love, right? So lift your vibration up, send love out into the universe, and then it is returned to you, usually amped up, I like to say. We have the balance card, which is self-care, right? That idea that if you're looked after and you're in tip-top shape, you can be the best for the people that rely on you, right? I got this leadership card again. So I don't know, Bims, if there is someone in your life that you are required to be like in a caregiver role for, like if you look after someone, or if you're responsible for someone, like maybe, I don't know, maybe you watch kids, or maybe you look after a neighbor or something, but there's something about that. I feel like the message from your mom is that you might not be looking after yourself as much as you should, or that you need to, and because you're sort of giving too much of yourself to something else. So try to keep that in mind, to look after yourself, right? So that you can continue to be a leader. She's like, yes, I'm in a leadership role. Okay. Bim said, everyone loved her in life. I always forget to be grateful when I'm feeling content. Good reminder. Thank you. Listen, it's so easy for people to forget. And I share this story because it's important to me that people understand when I say this, what I mean by it. I always thought I was a grateful person. I'm sure most people like to think that they're a grateful person. I didn't understand what grateful meant. It's going to make me cry. I didn't understand what it meant. And it wasn't until I came to this community and I was introduced to so many amazing people and found my connection to spirit, which, I'm in the beginning stages of. And when I did my first forgiveness ceremony and released that burden and that weight that I've been carrying around, I instantly felt a sense of relief and a sense of happiness and contentment that I never thought I was ever going to feel again. And that was the beginning of a new understanding of what gratitude is. I was so grateful because that was the thing that I was mostly challenged with, and mostly stuck with. I could not get past the fact that I was never going to have that level of contentment in my life because my anxiety caused me to be like a crazy mess. My words, not saying that's how it was. And it wasn't until I did that. And so I try to remind myself every day of the things that I am grateful for and the blessings that I have in my life, because sometimes they are the simplest things. For example, sitting in front of the TV and a cat jumps up on your lap. And you're just sitting there, and the warmth of the cat, and they're circling around trying to find their comfy spot, and you're stroking them, and that tactile experience, the vibration of the purr, the heat exchange between the bodies. There is something so incredibly magical about that impromptu split second little moment that brings you so much joy if you allow it to, right? If you get present and allow that, you feel that. That is that joy and that gratitude. That's what keeps your vibration up.
Agreed.
Okay, now I have to wipe my tears. Good grief. All right, we have one more question to go, and then we are done. We have Wiki. She says, if it is not too late, I have a message from my grandma, Lola Elvira. I love it. Hi, MK.
I wonder if Lola was adventurous, because I get this adventurous spirit, if not on this side, on the other side. She reminds me of me and my husband. We were ziplining through the jungles of Belize in 2019 before COVID hit. I just get this adventurous, free spirit. And I see her just dancing around, and she's just happy. She's taking you by the hand. She's pulling you. I don't know if it's through some fear or through some anxiety, but she's pulling you, and she's saying, girl, I'm just rephrasing, girl, have a good time. Come on. And so, you don't have to go to the cemetery either, because she's not there. Her bones might be, but she's not. She's showing me butterflies, which means metamorphosis. So I see all these butterflies. So whenever you see butterflies, you'll know it's her. That's what I got.
Wow. I just want to say. So the first card that I pulled is Dragonfly Spirit. So when Mel said that he's seeing butterflies and I'm seeing dragonflies. So I don't know if nature is a place where you feel like grounded or content or joy. If you get something out of being in nature, but there's something in that's not expected. Anyway, the Dragonfly Spirit is change. These two cards came out at the same time. We have the Spirit Guardian of Spring and Activation. Think of it literally like this time of year when everything is popping out of the ground, right? And the birds are coming out, and the little critters are coming out of hibernation, and all the sounds that they're making. 3 months ago we couldn't hear them here where I live. We couldn't hear any sounds, and now every morning it's like chirp, 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 and squeak, 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 and squawk, squawk, squawk. The point that I'm trying to make is things have been activated. Life has been sort of reinvigorated, and I feel like you might be feeling like you're lacking inspiration or you need some inspiration. The last card that I got was this Guardian Angel of Clarity. And so, not to sound ridiculous, but it's like that aha moment. It's like that, that in the forehead, like, wow, I could have had a V8 moment. That's going to sort of kickstart you into feeling like I can do anything. I can take on the world sort of idea. So I want to say, go out in nature. Go out in nature. Be around the butterflies and the dragonflies, and allow that to inspire you. Because I think that you're going to find some inspiration by being out there.
Yeah, I saw Mom pulling her through. So.
Oh, lovely. I love that. Okay, so I want to say thank you to everyone for being here. Thank you to everyone for all of the questions. Mel, thank you so very much. I have one more thing that I want to ask, if I can, and that is, you guys pick either the best advice that your mom gave you or a favorite saying that your mom had. And I would love it if everyone in the chat would share, if you feel comfortable doing so.
Okay. I'm going to say this, then I have to run because I got to be somewhere. I remember when I came out, I was, I think, 19 or 20. And my mother said, are you? And I was like, I'm not going to say it. And she said, well, do you like men? And I said to her, yes, I do. And she said, oh, thank God, I thought something was really wrong with you. She said, be who you are and don't change or try to make people think you're something that you're not. I love you no matter what. And
That's beautiful.
that stuck with me. And you know, on that note, I've got to run.
All right, my love. Thank
fun.
you
We'll do this
so
again.
much, Mel. This has been such a treat, and we will do this again. I would be honored if you would join me at the fire pit, and we'll just share a bunch of stories.
And we'll do this again too, right?
Absolutely, 100%.
Send me a text. We'll set it up.
All right, my friend. Thank you so much. Have
Namaste.
a great weekend.
Aloha, namaste.
Bye.
Bye.
Friends, really quickly, I would just want to say thank you. That was awesome. I so appreciate Mel being here, and I do want to share this. So my mom's favorite saying was, "Oh well, shit happens," and she would say like, "I don't believe," and it was usually on like if we were to get a bargain in the store, like she loved to shop, and if there was, you know, something was on sale, she'd be like, "I don't believe the price," and like grab it quick, that kind of idea. She had a lot of other sayings that we can't really say here, but those were a couple of sayings that she had. Best advice that she ever gave me was to believe in myself, that I could do anything that I wanted to. You know, the world was my oyster. She was always encouraging, and I appreciate that more than I can say. I want to say thank you to everyone who was here. Thank you to everyone who popped in, who asked a question, who made a comment. Our moms are special, and whether that is your biological mother or someone that you look to as a motherly figure, those bonds are important, and they are part of us for years. It's not like a fleeting moment. It's something that sticks with you for a very long time. Know that if that person that you look to as a motherly figure is not here, if they are in spirit, that you can talk to them, you can confide in them, you can converse with them. You don't feel that you're alone. You don't feel like they're not watching you, they're not listening. They always are around you. And that's the best gift that I have come to the understanding of, because I now understand that my mom is around me all the time. And I couldn't ask for anything more than that. So I'm very grateful for that. So I want to say thank you. Happy Mother's Day to everybody. And thank you so much, everyone, for hanging out with me. And thank you again to Mel. If you're not already subscribed to Mel's channel, please do go check him out. The link is in the description box below the video. Thank you, Sharon Sipe and Vivian, for putting the links in. Appreciate that so very much. And I will be back on Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern with Cartomancy Mesquite. We'll be tossing some crystals in the garden, like the Oracle Garden that Nancy Jean does. We'll be doing that on Monday night here. So I look forward to that. And May 26th, next Friday, or 2 Fridays from now, Friday at the Fire Pit comes back. So make sure that you got your bell notification checked off. It's always a good time. Ron and Jay are going to join me one night. Mel is going to join me one night. And we always have a lot of fun back there at the Fire Pit. So everybody have a great weekend, and I will see you when we see each other again. I wish you many, many, many blessings, and happy Mother's Day again to everybody. Mwah! Bye, everybody.